Welcome back to another episode of Hobby Time in the Murder Basement. Today, I get to sit down for the second time with your friend and mine, Sam Lenz. I stinking love Sam Lenz, and I'm thrilled to have been able to have the chance to talk with him twice. We have a great talk, get you all caught up to speed on what his life has been like the last year. Stick around, we have a great chat. Wish YouTube, I wish YouTube didn't affect my emotions so much, because literally the podcast version of the show does great, but I never hear from any of those people. They just every week show up and listen to it. It's fine. The podcast on YouTube is so erratic, and I'm just like, why aren't you here? And you try not to let the stats fuck you up, but they do. Like the entire time. They just break your soul. And I've been trying not to spiral, but I'm doing a really shitty job right now. I'm just going to be honest.
Me too.
Are you?
No, me too. Let's talk about it. I was off to a great start. I got 10,000 subscribers in the first month. I put up a video. It got 20,000 views. I got a couple good ones, and now nobody cares. They're just like, oh, these tutorials will be here. So I think nobody, there's no rush. It's well, if I paint that, then this will be useful. My videos get 2,000 or 3,000 views, shitloads of comments, and I've pretty much just stopped caring about it. I'm all right, things get old on Patreon. I put them up on YouTube for free.
Yeah,
it's really hard to care about. I'm always about to just stop putting shit on YouTube because it's not making any difference. It's I'm wondering if I keep this on Patreon, will I get better Patreon numbers? It doesn't seem to have had an effect when I started putting things onto YouTube as well, because it's old.
Yeah.
But I'm about ready to give up on YouTube as well. But then there's always wasn't doing anything else anyways.
Right.
Just basically throwing it into a library where no one's going to look.
Well, right now, this is what bands call the void, where you're just making content for the void.
Yeah.
And while that's totally, it's not true, because you have people that are there every video and are excited for you to do it, and will be keep it as part of their repository and learning. It doesn't feel good. It just doesn't. There's no way to separate yourself from it, and I don't know how to do it. I've been doing this my entire life to no one, and now that I have people there, and I do there's that drug that it's not enough, it just makes you fucking crazy, and it shouldn't be. And you should be able to embrace the people that are there every week and be so happy that they're there, but also you're why aren't you watching it here? Just leave it playing in the background or something. Do something.
Give me those background plays. Yeah.
Just go to sleep me. It's all right. I just need the click-throughs.
It is weird. And I know you come from the world of underground music. So you've been to shows where there's let's say 20 people, and that's a decent turnout. You put something on YouTube and 500 people watch it. You've just reached more people than you ever did on the entire tour that you went on with your tin pail and broomstick noise project. But so that's the one kind of refreshing thing. And then also there are the people they're there consistently, and the ones that really care, the diehards and stuff. So you do it for them as well.
Right. Well, and and not to get things even worse, where I've had the most luck recently? TikTok. TikTok. Yeah.
TikTok. I have only ever seen clips from TikTok, which says something, I guess, where it's hey, your Instagram feed is a TikTok video today.
Right.
Huh? just one little clip. Putting hobby content on TikTok, huh? Oh, I think that's a good thing. Spread the good word.
I started doing Gundam stuff on there because I was like, mini painting stuff isn't doing it, like showing off photos and like playing it to like Venom, black metal. Like I thought that would be like a really like cool thing to do, and Motorhead and shit. No, people didn't care about that, but like people like seeing little tiny toys doing like shit like this, and like all of a sudden like
oh, you're making them dance.
Yeah, you get
TikTok
a little robot head, and
more.
you get 500 views, and you're like, that is more than my last 3 interviews.
Oh man, yeah, it's crazy. It's like the more I cut myself out of the content I make, the better it does. Man, I should just wear a mask. Maybe my YouTube would do better if I was wearing a mask.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like it worked for Slipknot, so fuck it.
The masked painter.
Let's do it. I mean, they now have the Masked Singer like reality TV show where like they don't even want you to know who the person is.
People love masks.
One of the funniest things that happened is, so I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Sauce on Instagram or on Twitch or not. Him and I have been trying to figure out how to break the content creation meta. Like, what is the thing that you can push this, and like how can you change people's perceptions of this? And he found this young streamer from Ireland. Her name is Let's Make It Orky. She just raised like something like $7,000 the other day on like a charity stream, which is like amazing. She's doing some crazy things. And I guess they were talking, and she was like, TikTok is where I'm getting all my people from right now. And he was like, why is it TikTok? And she's like, I don't know. I just did this like thirst trap thing, and all of a sudden, like I had 100 people in my Twitch stream the next day. And you go back to look at literally the thirst trap, you'd expect it to be like boobs or like doing something like really risque and sexy.
Yeah, thirst trap. Okay, I was like, can you define that? I think I know what that means.
The thirst trap. That's
in regards to like hobby content, I was like, not so sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I don't know what a hobby thirst trap would be, except for like, a brand new bottle of paint that you're just opening up, and it's just like so beautiful and untainted. I don't know, like that first time you pull the needle, you pull a point with your new paintbrush or some shit. I don't know, but she just like,
I was thinking like, yeah, like a Space Marine in shorts.
Well, we should totally talk about like himbo Space Marines. Like we need way more of that.
Yeah, but like their gene seed is that they have big booties.
They have big booties. That's
their genetic difference. Their Primarch had a big thirsty ass.
Yeah, it's just thick AF. Like that's all. Like instead of like a nameplate, it just.
I'd play that chapter.
So Orky's thirst trap was literally her in like a sweatshirt, and then she like bounced, and like she had makeup on, and her hair was cute, and she like was like it wasn't even risque at all, and it had like 16,000 hits. And so, I'm just like, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing that she didn't have to do anything really weird, and it has exploded her Twitch. And I'm like, this is breaking my brain for hobby content, because I've never thought about, we're always like, let's be the best painter, or let's be really funny and make noises like this, like whatever we can do. Let's get crazy.
I love those.
She's like, I'm really funny, I'm a funny painter, and I'm very entertaining on stream. I'm going to catch your attention with this 30-second video. And I mean, she's I think the future of hobby content in the Twitch space. It's breaking my brain seeing it happen, because it's so organic and not forced at all. It's very cool. So
if I wear makeup and bounce, I can get more traction on my YouTube.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, just come in, just like do some headbangs and flex the guns in like a black and white. Yeah, like I think that would work.
Minis or whatever. Go to Walmart. Go to Google.com.
Yeah. And it goes so much to say that like I've been thinking about like ways to change the stigma of like women in the hobby. And God, it just seems like there's this edgelord troll thing that isn't disappearing and is mad at women who show their face or use their attractiveness to like get links. I'm like, why aren't guys doing that? Like, let's do it. Like, fuck yeah, let's do a himbo of miniature painting calendar for like charity, and we'll all just like take like really tasteful like boudoir photos and like get the
Yeah.
like PG-13 level, and we'll take them to like miniature like game stores, and they can sell them at their counter, and it'll all go to painting like supporting legless dogs or something. We'll find a
Yeah.
really good hobby to a cause to fund or something. I think we should do it.
Excuse me, sir. I'm not one to judge too much, but I do have to question a bit that you handed a picture of yourself dressed as Rambo to my son at the game store. Uh, I like Rambo. Okay, he's cool. It's tough, a lot of muscle. Yeah, I get it. All the people that are complaining are also like, their attention is going in that direction. They're clicking, they're following.
Yeah.
I don't care, man. Like cowards, just
Cowards is the
I
best.
understand. I understand it's a problem for some people. I'm lucky to come from at least in my circles where that hasn't been a problem, but I'm aware that it is. It's weird to understand. I always like growing up, like playing nerd games and stuff. Being like a teenage kid, like I would have loved to combine like hanging out with girls with gaming.
Right?
Not that you're like walking into a date or I'm like treading on such weird water, but like it always seemed cooler for a lot of reasons to have everyone involved. I don't know.
Right? I had this one friend growing up. Her name's Allie. We're still in touch to this day, like from 6th grade. Still hang out and talk online. Super sweet woman. She played Magic the Gathering with me and kicked the shit out of me all the time because like I didn't know how to make a deck. I was like, I like these things and I'm going to play them. It's all dumb. But it was so nice that it was never a thing. She was like, you guys are doing cool things. I want to hang out with cool people. And I'm like, this is the way it should be. This is the way.
Like being a nerd, what a better way to say what I was trying to say, being like nerdy can be kind of lonely for people. So wouldn't you want to be less alone in the
Right?
I don't get it. I have to like walk past like this weird red flag to like take part in this conversation, or I'm just like, why are we even this? Why does this matter? Yeah,
Dude, it's very bizarre.
I don't get it.
The politics that are happening here, and like I hate using that term because it's not politics of when you're talking
Right?
about women taking abuse from other hobbyists because they want to be a part. That isn't politics. That's fucking just hateful bullshit. But like,
Yeah, I love what qualifies as like a political statement these days.
Right.
It's like I just want to walk and yell boop wherever, and that's being political.
Well, but the weird thing is like, especially where like when you're
blurry.
on that upward momentum, you want to keep as many people happy, and like there's that weird you don't want to exclude anybody either, like you just are trying to be like the good guy in the conversation. And I fucking lost it the other day. I can't be the good guy with these people anymore. And I'm just like, no, I fucking see you, you cowards. Like, come on out.
I saw that. Yeah.
I just can't do it anymore. I can't be quiet. So
right, dude, I'm just gonna take a knife and carve the Punisher logo on my face and finally just I'm gonna get your channel kicked off of YouTube. Go out with a bang, though.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Well, so let's go back. A year ago, we talked aliens, we talked life, we talked love, we talked mini painting, and and a really having to really hard shift. Like you had your entire rug kind of swept out from underneath you, and we're starting the Patreon, starting doing hobby videos. It was like literally like that's when we talked. I don't even think the Patreon
Dude.
was live yet. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and live stream was probably still your biggest pull. Since then, you have had a forced move. The live stream isn't happening right now, which is always a real bummer. To not have you in my life in like a weekly
I miss it.
basis like
Yeah.
that, dude. Because like you were easily one of the best streamers out there, and you've now pushed this like Patreon, YouTube, hobby tutorial content in a way that seemed remarkably effortless. Like you just kind of fell into the rhythm of it, and so kudos to you for doing that and having the like
Thanks.
the drive and not get beat the fuck down because I think I would have collapsed. And I watched what you did and I'm like, fuck. It's
Oh
it's
man.
amazing.
It was a swim or die kind of moment. Like, yeah, so like you said, 2020 was hard. I had to stop and pivot, 3 or 4 times and rethink what I was doing because yeah, I got surprised. I got kicked out of my house by my who I thought was a good friend. It was just weird. It like happened so randomly. So I was like, all right, I'll find a new place to live. So I found this like farm out in the country. Uh, Moved out here and I realized that I can't even get a high enough internet signal to stream from here. If my service provider was even able to give me that like level of power, it was goddamn, I'm like losing track of it's been a long ass day, but the internet was very expensive, and to get the super high upload rate, I would have to pay like $400. But because of COVID, so many people are using the internet service. It's like overloaded. I can't even be ripped off. They can't even offer me the scam. Like, so I had
Oh
to stop streaming on
no.
Twitch. My Patreon's like 4 or 5 months old at that point. So I'm like, God, I hope this continues to trend upwards. Like it has, thankfully, but like Twitch was, I could cover my rent with that, and I lost that by moving into a new place. And I'm living in like a 5-bedroom farmhouse because I don't know, it's awesome. But it's more expensive than my last place. It's like twice the amount of rent. And so to like take that hit and lose the income from Twitch streaming, yeah, dude, I was super stressed out.
Sure.
And then all this other weird stuff comes along with living at this farm. Like there's an old man who lives in the shed. When I moved in here, they were like, "Yeah, that's Grandpa. He stays here sometimes, and he keeps to himself." He was here for 6 months straight, like all of summer, and he left like January 3rd or something.
Well, didn't you say he would just like wander through your room? Like, who the fuck is this old guy? What the fuck?
He like stores things in the basement for like maintenance. And then he's working on the front porch, which I thought they were going to finish that. Like, oh yeah, they're going to work on it one time. I'm moving in. There's some little crossover. No, they've worked on it like 2 more times and it's still not done. They're just like tinkering around and doing cement work on the side of the house when it's dark out. Just normal stuff you do in a place with no street lamps.
Right.
Um, and luckily, he's cool. I'll go out and help him and stuff, but it's not like I saw him go and like take stuff out of my garbage one day. Like after I had taken it to the curb, he went and took some like big box because he's a hoarder. He's got all this like
It's like that pizza box had good cheese on it, man.
I'm like, what the? I just want to have a normal life. Why do I have to like? And then yeah, there's like farmers coming. It's an active farm, so they're going to do the fields and stuff. That's cool, but I didn't know there's like people coming to visit this old man every single night,
Oh my
and his
god.
electricity is connected to my house. And I'm like, well, I don't want to move out because I just moved somewhere, and
Yeah.
everything else is stressful. So yeah, what a fun time. And through all that, I just kept making videos somehow. You just have to like, if I stop, then I'm like super screwed. I'm trying not to swear a lot. That's what all these breaks in my speech are.
Dude,
Um,
just let it go. We are. There's this funny thing that happens on YouTube where if you swear after 30 seconds, they don't care. Like it's all like the
oh
whole thing.
shit!
Yeah, they're like, oh, I can't talk bad because then like I won't get ads. No, it's like because YouTube knows that people don't make it past like 3 minutes of these videos. They literally just don't care. So don't censor yourself.
It's
Just flow the way you got to, man. Just flow.
all right, because I know some people like to keep it PG, but that is fun when you start a YouTube channel and you can see the analytics and you see the click through rate, so you know how much of a video people are watching generally, and then they ask questions that are answered in the video. Like, well, you could
Did you get
watch
to minute
that.
14? Because you missed it if you didn't.
Yeah, it's all in there. Or I did say this was beginner's material. But yeah, anyways, I could just never get a normal hand dealt in life. But
Yeah,
whatever. Overall, things are good. You just roll with it,
sure.
adapt and survive. Um, luckily, I get along with Rob, the old man. All these farmers showing up at any possible time. 3 a.m., 6 a.m., 2 p.m., whatever.
It's just there.
People walking down the driveway with a gun, just going to hunt, whatever. Dude, I'm so paranoid every time I hear a noise now because it's been winter, so he's been gone, and I'm just waiting to like come back home and see that little red truck one day. But yeah, every sound I hear, I'm like looking to see if someone's invading my sanctum.
Is Grandpa
So
back?
yeah,
Well, if I remember
came
correctly, you've got a couple swords and things. So, and
yeah,
you got these guys, which is pretty good.
yeah, dude. Do a lot of weaponry laying around the house, a lot of medieval stuff, real stuff, and then just trying to increase my bodily mass on a daily basis. Just get huge, leave a double wide coffin, grow throughout your life cycle like a reptile would do.
Hell yeah.
So, all the pain and problems considered, I can happily say that I am like more successful and stronger and like stable than I've ever been in my life. So the path is going somewhere good. Just
Well,
stay
I
on the
mean,
path.
this thing exists, your Sam Lenz weapon
Yeah.
rack, which
Weapon rack.
I love
Dude.
to the max. It's like I was like,
Oh,
how there are certain like milestones that I didn't know needed to happen in miniature painting, and like Eeny Meenies getting the Titan B was like my first like, oh shit, that's something that can happen. KDM can like
dude.
send this to somebody, like that's fucking cool. And then I think really the next one was like your face, your beautiful face and name on a package from like one of my favorite hobby companies. I'm like, sponsor, like this is so fucking cool. How did this happen? Like who approached who on that one? Like did were you and Jason just bullshitting one night and you're like, I got an idea?
Oh, that was me. I approached him, and I was part of the Monumentals program. But yeah, I'd always wanted to put together a brush set that had like synthetic and natural hairs because that's what I use. And I've been using those brushes for like a year before we made that pack, so I knew for sure that like, yes, I believe in these. I've turned down more sponsorships than I've accepted because I
Sure.
won't put things out that I don't believe in. With that said, I'm happy to announce a student of mine has a laser cutter, and he made me a little
Oh,
guillotine brush rack. I just got this yesterday and put it together. And whatever he wants to start like a little side business selling these and laser cut engravings and stuff. I'm like, sweet dude, let's make that and see if I'm gonna see what like the people on the Discord for my Patreon, see who's interested in stuff. Because like the weapon rack, it blew up like a lot. It sold out twice and it's now sold out again, but because he's changing suppliers.
Sure.
But yeah, he could have like 100 orders for these guillotines in one day or something. So we're gonna test the water. But that's just fun. But it was like a cool milestone to have a set of brushes. And then I got Roman Lapat's miniature art book. I was like, man, I want to do that. I'm just going to keep copying Roman for the rest of my life. I'm glad he's older than me and keeps doing awesome things. I can just chase his. But yeah, having a book, I've always wanted to have like a collection of painted pieces and stuff and a cool coffee table book.
For sure.
And I'm just going to keep speaking my wishes into the world because that's how chaos magic works. By the end of the year, and I want people to believe in what I do, I'd like to have my own miniature available as well.
Nice.
I have a friend who does Dark Gods 3D out of Australia, does 3D printing, and I think he has a Patreon for his own STL files. And yeah, I'm going to team up with him to sculpt up something cool, something that I would like to take, for like a kind of a teaching canvas to a weekend class when, things open back up.
So your Space Marine
nice learning model.
Daisy Dukes.
Have all the steps. What's that?
Your Space Marine wearing Daisy Dukes. He's going to do that for you.
Yes. Right? Yeah. Hey, it's the one thing they haven't done yet. Space Marines in shorts. Come on. Hear me out, you guys. Less clothes. We've put Space Marines inside of big suits, inside of big suit, inside of another suit.
Yep.
Always with the little head sticking out. How about some shorts? Maybe no sleeves.
Yeah. Just shoulder ball.
It's on Space Marine in a bikini.
I love it. I love it. So, I mean, like, I think that this idea of like branching outside of just YouTube content, just like your typical, like weekly video routine, is truly the future. Well, I think that it's great to do, and getting you to some place where you're doing some sort of live thing, even if it's like, like this. I mean, if you could do like a weekly hangout with Sam Lenz, and maybe it won't be to the quality that you once had doing the Twitch stuff, as like it's hard for your internet to keep up. I think it would be really great to have that interaction with the audience, and that's something that I learned from Scott when he started doing live streams, weekly live streams. It was interesting seeing how different the audience was, and how it just proved to me that it was easily one of the most important things. And it didn't matter what he did. He could have sat there and did like armpit fart noises for like 4 hours, and people would have been like, oh, hell yeah, we're here. I think you've got the same sort of fandom and excitement around you. And I didn't understand Patreon until you, because you're the first Patreon that I have backed since it started. And I complain that my Patreon doesn't look at my content early. I'm exactly the same way with yours. I don't look at any of your content. I'm just happy that I'm giving you money in a meaningful way that's helping you.
I know, man. It's like when I put the tutorials on YouTube, people are like, I know it's there. I'll get to it when I get to it. Like, hey, thanks for the support, man. I appreciate it.
It's so cool. Like, when I was watching you do, like, first I have to thank you on a bunch of different things. Like, I think this is the right place to do it. You talked to me super early on in the podcast when not a lot of people had, and you did it really candidly, and it was great and it was fun. And then when I started streaming, you supported me there. And, like, I don't think I would have been anything if it wouldn't have been for the just attention that you gave me. That it means a lot that you did it, especially since, could be the idea of like, why am I going to help him out? I should be doing things for me. Like, you were so community minded that it set me up to have like the exact same feelings. And it like, like I just feel like I'm
Awesome.
constantly following you. Like, no, it's got to be for everyone. This has to be for everyone, and it doesn't mean
Yeah.
small or big. Like, the boat is big enough for all of us. Let's get everybody in here. But I didn't
And look how it's
realize.
grown with more people being just connected by just the presence of the internet.
Right.
The boat has grown. The size of the crew on the boat. That makes me really happy that like I had some kind of encouraging effect on you, man. That's cool. And I do hear you about content. Like not everything has to be a tutorial.
Sure.
Speaking of YouTube, I think a lot of us creators go through this cycle of like, why don't people like my tutorials? Why are they looking at these other channels where it's just a list of things or someone opening a package or like a weird like stunt? But and you kind of dislike that. Then you come around and realize that it's miniature based entertainment. This is
Yeah.
a channel, and what I'm making tutorials. That's a different lane. You have a channel that includes, tutorials, funny skits, like just look at the variety that like Scott, Midwinter, Squidmar, Brent, like a lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss someone, but yeah, I kind of came full circle on that, and I think everyone has to go through this weird contention and like man, if I just put like Space Marine with a question mark as the title of my video, I'll probably do better than anything I've ever made. But also just make this popular. It's still such a small thing. Just I don't know, get into whatever you're into, and like meandering. I've recorded my voice like 3 times already today. So I was on. I do a podcast with my friend that's not about miniatures at all.
Yeah.
It's
This
called This
review and
Review.
review. It's the greatest. I love it.
Yeah, dude. It's funny, but yeah, it's a funny point in the day for me. Um, long meandering point short. Yeah, I'm glad it got a positive effect on that, and I think that also though it does speak to your own like I liked you
Oh,
when I like saw your stuff when we talked and everything. So you're a good person. You're a good guy. So easy to get along with and easy to encourage. I can be very nice and I can be equally mean to people that cross me. So I like
hey.
to hold up the people that are good
Well,
and
thank you. I appreciate
do
that.
good things.
Well, one of the things that happened because you believed in me and because you did this thing, and I subbed to your Twitch because like I was like, this is where he's making his money. Once I started like managing to be able to make money on Twitch, and I realized what a racket it was and how like horribly balanced it is for the creator, and the fact that you never were able to make partner, which I like made me even more mad. Like, it was like all these things started happening. I had this like
Why don't they
real.
like me?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. I had this like huge crisis of faith about that platform, and that's when right around the time that your like Patreon like really took off, and I was like, I'm backing the Patreon and I'm not backing Twitch because I can't feel good about Twitch taking half of his money. Like, and then it made me realize that Twitch is the advertisement to literally everything else that you're doing. If you're making t-shirts, it's your advertisement to that. If you're doing your Patreon, your YouTube, it is a thing for people to interact with you and to be entertained. And it is not so much about people sitting down and watching you to learn to paint. because I actually think that
Yeah.
it sucks at that. I we've realized that Twitch has always just been a just chatting stream. It's always just been a just chatting stream. No matter how much painting you do or how much you actually help people, at the end of the day, it's just chatting. And
Yeah,
it broke my
because
brain. I was like, this platform.
I know Twitch is a really strange territory because you want to elevate the community, but you also are competing at a certain level if someone is on at the same time slot as you.
Right.
And you go and raid somebody who is now live, that means that they were live while you were live. So if their show is cooler than yours, people are going to, oh, well, so the person that Sam rated is on, and they're way funnier. So it's weird, but you also you're kind of a jerk if you're not contributing to the circle.
Right.
There's just like a positive way to look at that and the pessimistic way to look at it. I can't help but see the different angles.
Yeah.
I miss it. When my lease is up, I'll be moving.
Yeah.
Saving up to buy a house, so I think that'll happen this summer.
Dude, congrats.
Thank you, Patreon.
Yeah. That's so
and
exciting.
Hey, going out and doing nothing, it makes it really easy to save money when there are no concerts or restaurants to be at. So it's been like, I guess maybe I'll buy some more miniatures. Like, even that kind of caps off after a while.
Well, and especially since they aren't releasing anything for your army right now, so like, what are you going to spend your money on? Like another thing that you can't do with your friends for a while? Like, although you have had like some serious luck being able to do TendyCon and VinciCon. Like, you've done like two of like the most like totally envious that you guys got to do that and have such a cool time, and like it just like it makes me so I want the world back. Sam, I want the world back.
Oh, I'm someday I'm gonna have I'm just gonna invite everybody from my Patreon to like a gigantic barbecue. Just be like, hey, come and hang out. Yeah, it was really cool. I don't know how people would take that, us having our little meetings, but we're all doing the same thing where I can live a very isolated quarantine lifestyle, and we all do. And then at VinceCon, Vince and Kathy and I think John are all vaccinated, so I felt like extra safe.
It's so awesome.
But yeah, it's not like
so awesome.
Go anywhere.
Like all of my clients.
It was a lot of fun. I want to encourage people to get together, but not really.
Yeah.
you need a little like quarantine pack. You need like a little group of people who are on the same level as you to get through it. Like, I have just a few friends that two. Two people I hang out with: my brother, my friend Trevor, who I do my podcast with,
mm-hmm.
and then I spend time with Milady as well.
Sure,
but very, very small circle. But then I have to also expect that Trevor is seeing someone and has a roommate as well. So we keep our
We had a couple close calls last year, and I realized that no matter how close I thought my bubble was, they are not taking it near as seriously as I am. And that's when I realized that, like, oh, I can't do this. I have to wear masks in front of all my friends now. Like there's no sliding on it anymore, as like, they oh, I'm not hanging out with anybody, but I did go on a date with a girl last week, and then we went to a restaurant and we ate in front of each other, and now I've got the sniffles. And you're just like, you just said that you weren't hanging out, and now there you are, and here it is. And it happened a couple times, and so we locked down pretty hard, and I'm ready to get back to some sense of normality. I just really am.
Yeah. I feel you, man. Just keep prepping.
Yeah.
Recently, so speaking of games that you can't play with anybody, I bought the Warcry starter set, not Catacombs,
The original?
the first one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I had to help a friend move his game store. You got to break the bubble at some point because
Oh man.
your friends need you.
Yeah.
But I saw like two Warcry starters, and I'm fine. Brooke just had a test over the weekend, negative.
Nice.
So it's pretty much like I passed the COVID test. But I got my hands on a Warcry starter, and with a larger gaming world, or in my area, it's hard to get something to take off. If you want it to take off, you have to be the nucleus of that operation.
Of course.
I want people to play Infinity. I've got to know every stat and every rule and be running, getting everything together, and trying to convince people to spend hundreds of dollars at the same time.
Right.
Like, hey, you play AOS with me. All you got to do is sell that car. So I got the Warcry starter. And my plan is like, all right, I am painting this entire starter set, and then I can run demos and I can keep this contained. It's only like 20 models to paint up and some really cool scenery that I'll just beat upon it with my weathering powders.
Right.
And like I can be the center of that operation. I can set up a fully painted game. I can be like, hey Brooke, hey brother John, hey Trevor, and then get my people that don't game kind of hooked into it with a really cool experience. And it's also the level of complexity is a lot lower.
Yeah.
It's like Zombicide level, and everyone has played that.
No, Warcry did really well with my friend circle before everything fell apart, and like I was very excited to play more of that, and I didn't buy Catacombs because it just seemed really expensive for like a dungeon crawl experience that I think there's probably better ways to do it. And like Warhammer the Cursed City, Warhammer Quest of Cursed City, I think it's going to be a better way than Catacombs. And so I think the models are cooler. So that is definitely on my list.
Yeah. I was really happy that I didn't buy Catacombs or the most recent Zombicide Kickstarter that landed.
Yeah.
Not the Wild West one, but whatever the last one was that they did. It's like, all right, I've had enough. And then all these awesome, we've got a lot of cool options on the horizon.
Yeah.
I'm stoked on Cursed City because I know they're going to give that like the Blackstone Fortress treatment. And we'll have all these expansions. It might be something fun to keep up with. And yeah, you can play continuously with some quarantine pals.
Yeah. I wish I would have kept up with the expansions of Blackstone Fortress, but I didn't. Like I bought the regular game, I built it all and primed it and played a couple games with it, and then all my friends were like, "I want to do something different." I'm like, "Okay." And so it's been in a box. I haven't touched it in forever. I'm a little nervous. I used actual metal sheeting to make like the diamond plate stuff. I'm a little nervous that it's rusted under there, and so it's in that Schrodinger's cat box of like, if I don't look at it, I don't know. So it might be rusty. It might not be. Who knows?
Yeah, quantum realities, it could be getting less rusty.
Right?
Who's to say? It could be polishing itself. What the bleep do we know, right? That weird documentary.
Holy shit. So I hadn't thought of what the bleep do we know in years until my wife started watching that like Nexium documentary. And I didn't realize that the dude who did that got wrapped up in that Keith Raniere sex cult. And like, so he went from
That's why I heard of that.
Yeah, dude.
It came up on a podcast recently. Yeah.
It was fascinating because he was like such a good, like, what the bleep do we know? If you were a young stoner or drug addict, that movie like totally justified your like wasted years of being high on drugs. You're like, I fucking told you there was other realities.
Yeah, I knew it. I'm just the bum version of myself. There are others that do karate and metalwork and nuclear science.
Damn right.
I don't know why I'm talking like this.
It was like it was like the perfect video for me at the time. I watched it in the theater several times, and like every time I watched it, I was like more justified of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go watch this like On shrooms. Fuck yeah, we're doing this. It was not a
Oh,
like,
tripping at a theater, man.
you know,
I
it was
stranger
Oregon. What are you
danger when
gonna
I
do?
went tripping. Yeah, I don't have that fearlessness with like tripping in public.
Oh,
And it's been a long time.
yeah.
It's not it's,
I mean, I was 19 or 20. I was uh I
okay
was
in that case,
invincible.
yeah. I went to like Funset Boulevard on acid when I was like 17. I didn't like it though.
It's too much.
It was not. My friend was way more fucked up than me, and all I saw was everyone else like seeing him, and I was like, oh god, oh god.
They know.
I remember walking past the foosball table, and there were like these gangster dudes playing foosball, and my friend with like a Marilyn Manson shirt like walked past, and they like jabbed they like rammed the foosball poker or whatever like at him in our general direction. He didn't notice. He's like, ready to go climb on a jungle gym with like a bunch of small children, which also happened. And
Yeah, totally normal.
yeah, I'm just like, man, I want to get out of here.
Yeah, and the problem with acid is it goes on for so long. You are just there for forever, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I've broke the world, and this is the way it is the rest of my life.
you need to go to sleep before you're fully back to normal, and it takes, yeah, you're in for like a 12-hour trip.
Yeah,
I don't have the time for
dude.
that. I don't know. Cheers to the people who have that kind of heroic level, but like, it just sounds like hell to me now. What I used to like is now I don't like.
Yeah, dude, same. I used to work with a guy, and him and I always used to, he sold weed, and that was like his side gig to get him through the minimum wage pay at Guitar Center, and him and I always would joke that
Yeah.
we graduated hallucinogens. Like we don't need to go back. We already graduated that class, and
Yeah, right.
because there's so many people like, dude, we're gonna go do this. It's like, what? And you're gonna like cuddle while you do it too? Like what? Like you guys are in your 30s. You shouldn't be doing this right now.
Right. Yeah, man. Should be caring about different things. But hey, live free, I guess.
Dude, if you can do it and like not fuck up your like momentum. The problem is like my serotonin is so fragile these days. Like, I unfortunately, like, I mean, we talked about this. Like, I can't drink anymore. Like I've just like worked really hard at making this engine keep all the things that make me happy, and I had a drink just like out of the blue last summer. I was like, we're going to do this. I had a couple margaritas, and it like fucked me up for a week. I was
Hey.
like just, and they were so good, and it was such a good time. But like the next day, I was so blue and depressed. I was like, my fucking brain does not like this anymore. Like it just can't
And
do this.
I get more anxious over a wasted day as well. What really gets me off is getting things done these
Hell yeah.
days. To look at every day like with a sense of accomplishment and a building block, building towards a larger whole and seeking some kind of purpose through it all.
Sure.
But yeah, if a day goes by where I didn't like move the meter forward in some category I care about, then it's a wasted day.
Sure.
And it's a wasted night staying up doing cocaine and watching music videos anyways. Watching music videos for like 12 hours.
Dude, like the fact that,
but it never stops until you like run out of cocaine.
yeah, and then you're like, well, what
Well,
the
times.
fuck? So what is,
Every once in a while I'll break and just go into this like nether realm of like partying for like one night or something, and
sure.
yeah, get back to that old world, and I'm just like come out of it the next day like, what the fuck? How sad.
I mean, like,
I just want to paint.
I think that's really fine though. Like to not do it is, I don't believe like in like restricting yourself from doing something if it's what you want to do, and you can do it responsibly. If you're not hurting yourself, you're not, if bills can still be paid, if you can still wake up and be happy with who you are in your skin the next day, then fuck it. Like, just do it. Like, there's no wrong way to live this life, and if that means that you got to fucking push that boundary, do it. But it's like, if it's taking a toll on you, I have to, like, at that point be like, maybe don't do that though.
See, that's the other part of it, is the trade, the toll that it takes. Yeah, kudos, man. Some people just live on potatoes. You know, if that's your jam and it fits for you, for your type, you know, we're all kind of wired a little differently.
Yeah,
man.
So you said that for you, a day not spent pushing the needle is a day wasted. What
That's a fun phrase to say after this last conversation.
Right. So what pushing the needle, Jesus Christ.
Oh shit.
Oh no.
Too far.
What do your days look like now? Like, you got the Patreon, you got a Discord, you got the YouTube, what is all this doing, and what is it moving towards?
Oh man. So there are different categories of life. There are different meters. Being healthy mentally, being healthy physically, enriching your relationship with your tribe. Sure. Maybe we'll say it that way. Your career, like miniature painting, having a Patreon rolling, and having these different like avenues and channels created. It's awesome because it's all artwork. This is what I wanted. I've hit all of my goals, and I need to create new ones, which is why I was thinking about an art book and a miniature. So to me, all this just represents is the success of being able to survive on my strongest talent. That's what I was after. And yeah, especially now that the Patreon is healthy and strong, I'm finally, it's not even a year old. So it's not like this shit just happened.
Right.
You know, I've been doing this for like 10 years now, 12.
Right.
But, there are times that I went without and sacrificed and, lived in kind of squatty conditions and stuff. And just kept at it because doors kept opening, and I didn't know what direction they would come from, but I could see a path. So yeah, the ability to like have the security of having a very simple, basic dreams, security of having a roof over my head and the freedom to travel. You have to be able to afford that luxury.
Sure.
And that's what I was chasing on a more like kind of philosophical level. The way, like, why I started making videos with Tabletop Minions was just to put out free content for people that couldn't afford content or whatever. It was my way of, it's the most positive way that I can relate to the world. It's the best thing that I could put out, into, if that's important. I don't even know if that matters to me all the time, because I'm a pretty solitary individual, but through some way, just trying to relate to the world in a positive fashion.
Sure.
That's why I got into that. It's not like Adam was like, "Hey, I'll give you $100 if you record a YouTube video for my channel." Well, it's not like a TV channel. It's a online channel, but it's called Tabletop Minions. Hey, I pride myself on my impressions.
It's a good one.
We were just two buddies just doing it because it's cool, and that's why he started doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
So that's what all those things mean to me. I don't get I'm not like, oh wow, I'm special now. I'm someone important. I don't have like a big ego. I have worked so much at my life at like maintaining that, because I see what shitty egos do.
Yeah.
And it was always just such a turnoff to me. Just overblown people that are full of themselves. I'd rather see, I'm more interested in the output and not in like the talk about why someone is great or what. I don't know. I just fuck big egos. It's stupid.
Yeah.
So I don't get any of that sense. And I feel like that's what a lot of people look at somebody in my position and may envy or want. I've had people write to me, and say those things like, how can I do that? But it's like, all this happened because I just loved what I was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't see YouTube and decide I wanted to be a miniature painter. It was like, oh, I should be a miniature painting YouTuber. What's miniature painting? Like, I need to learn this now. Like, it was the other way around. And I try to remind people, and we're talking about our own like struggles with growth in our channels and stuff. Like, you actually are reaching a lot of people. It's just in comparison, you feel like you're not.
Sure.
And don't forget why you started. I began painting before the internet existed. I was just a kid sitting cross-legged on my floor in a dim room painting orcs.
Hell
And that
yeah.
was cool. And I showed them to my friend Sonny, who I played Warhammer in the sandbox with our own made-up rules. And I never knew that I was going to be in White Dwarf or entering a Golden Demon contest or any of that. And I loved it just as much then.
Sure.
And sometimes when I find myself kind of, you get away from yourself at times, and just to remind yourself why you started and what you really love about it. Weird answer to your question, but I'll just keep rolling. So an average day, I get up, make a balanced breakfast, protein rich, and then I pump the irons. I fight the forces of gravity. The apocalypse is unending. And then I have students scheduled, and I'm trying to fit recording time in. The way that I live my life right now is not sustainable after quarantine.
Yeah.
There's going to be too many fun things to do, but at this point, I feel like life is boiled down to a few necessary functions.
Sure.
Luckily, my job is art, so it involves a lot of expression and experiments, and it's not mundane. It's not the same thing every day. But yeah, my whole existence is like wrapped around painting and recording and teaching. And then I do that one little like just for laughs podcast with my friend, and then spend time with Brooke on the weekends.
Yeah.
And that is like my entire life for a year. Oh, I got into skiing over the winter.
Nice.
That was fun. But yeah, like,
I think that's awesome that like you still have mental capacity to do other hobbies outside of, the hobby, because like, I last month I tried doing an entire army in a month when I, work a full-time job. I've got other things that I'm doing right now. And like I trying to do that, and I was like, fuck, this is an insane thing, and it's so hard to do this one thing. And I had a great time. I got a lot of stuff done. I put more paint on models than I'd done in forever. And and that was like I still love doing this. I still love doing this. I needed to like have that, like, get back to the basics, do some reps to paint and batch for a while to like really like understand why I love painting the things that I do. And like shit like that's so good. But it seems like there's this weird guilt whenever you're doing something that isn't like pushing the dream, and you aren't taking the time to like make your soul, your spirit, your whatever you want to call that, like, happy. And I realized that I had spent the entire time in quarantine going into like getting my business back open, pushing this like podcast, pushing the stream, pushing this. And I realized that like, that's not the only thing in my life. And I went so long neglecting everything else. Like I about fucking had like a breakdown over it. I was like, I can't believe I've neglected every other part of my life.
Yeah, man. When there's like content creation and self-promotion, it it's a fire. You need to keep throwing fuel on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, every project I have is now put through this filter of like, can I make that into, content for a tutorial? I shouldn't be wasting time and like, yeah, I need a little bit of that, more of that free time. And I realized that and I found that this last week, and I was painting some models for Creature Caster, and they needed them done relatively fast. So I think I recorded like one tutorial on painting skin, and it's like 12 models. They're doing a Kickstarter in the springtime, which
Doing the
I'm going to
judgment
see what
stuff.
what that's about. But it was nice to sit and paint and not have to worry about holding my hands under a camera and being in frame and
Yeah.
narrating what I'm doing while I'm doing it. Um, yeah, man, you'll get pulled away, but you need to like recollect yourself every once in a while. I liked that month of like hard working that you were doing though. I think it's cool. Like you'll see Brent do that where he'll have 24-hour challenges, Goobertown Hobbies.
Right.
If some of you haven't heard of that, you're seeing this. Um, but I like that. I admire that like time of focus. Like I want to get an army painted. It's taken me 5 years, or I could just like put a belt on and get this done in a week.
Right.
Cancel everything else. And then maybe next week I'll just eat the entire time because I'm skipping meals this week. Whatever you're skipping out. Like I'd rather work, 2 12-hour shifts instead of 4 3-hour shifts. Like
Right.
just or 6-hour shifts. Fucking math. I'd rather just get it all done in a concentrated time. And yeah, a lot of the time when I work on a project, I kind of get everything else out of the way and summon all the elements and shut down all the noise and just put a hard concentrated amount of time in.
Yeah.
I think it's about spending your time most effectively. So seeing you just like plowing away and what is it, like 200 models in 1 month was, I forget how you were titling that.
Yeah, it was actually 100. I'm a fucking liar. I just need everybody to know I'm a liar, and I'm unashamedly a liar. Like I will go with the clickbaity title because I know that 197 models in 28 days doesn't sound near as cool as 200. So like you're getting 200.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And I didn't finish the thing either. Like I got to a point where like I probably got like another 20 hours left. But I can do that now at a rate that isn't going to kill me. Like I don't know about, and maybe I need to work out. Maybe I need to do like get the high protein morning pump on the way you do it. But like I started getting like a repetitive stress like injury of trying to like do stuff the same way over and over again as I'm gluing these tufts of like grass and shit on these models. Like I started developing like this horrible like neck crick, and we're 10 days into the next month and I still have it. It's still there and it pisses me off so bad.
Yeah, man, I was having this conversation with like, I think Matt DiPietro was telling me about a back pain he has. He's like, do you ever get that? And I used to, but once I started working out, I don't get any of that pain.
Sure.
If I paint for 10 hours, my hand hurts. My neck will hurt from, I'm always like looking around my brush like this. Right. I got like a weird like lump in my neck. So that's cool. But yeah, if you do something for like hours on end, you're going to get like fatigue in some strange way, like using a tweezer like that or something. But
right.
Yeah, generally like exercising, being strong makes life easy. It's fucking cool. I can like throw couches. I literally like threw a couch when I was moving into this place and I was angry because it wouldn't fit in the door, and I just like threw it into the yard.
At this point,
like holy shit, I threw that couch pretty far.
I would be remiss if at this point I didn't say one of my favorite people in the whole world's motto: Sam Lenz built my hot rod. Because that's what it's about, being as strong as Sam Lenz is, that you can build a hot rod.
Oh God, yeah, I'm talk a big game, but at least do something every day to be physical. I've worked myself up from puny shrimp to regular amount of strength, and my mind has gone mad with power. But I have a lot of fun with it, man, and it brought a level of discipline into my life that was missing. That's something you might get from like martial arts or something. And again, that like it's a very honest activity. You get what you out of it, what you put into it.
Sure.
Just like painting, I love to make the painting comparison, and to quote Roman Lapat, painting is a muscle. And that's why I'm always saying, get your reps in. You need to develop a bit. But sticking with that and having done it for years now, you can see the difference even if you don't see it on a daily basis. I'll see like a old picture of myself, like, holy shit, I look completely different. And yeah, it tires me out too. I'm pretty I have a lot of energy, so I need to burn it off every day.
Well, I think that like us, the, us right brain creative, people, we are like maybe ADD, maybe undiagnosed ADD. But I realize that like I probably need to be doing a lot more to burn off some of that energy, because it just turns into existential dread like pretty fast at
Yep.
the end of the day. And like that's not good either, and like being self-employed, I've been self-employed now for 11 years, and I'm finally at the point where I don't need to work as hard every single day to keep the business going. And that's like a horrible place to be in mentally, because like suddenly this thing doesn't need me the same way that I need it. And,
I
and man, it's
understand that you're used to running at a certain level too, so it kind of spills over.
yeah. And
If the goal is always to work smarter, not harder, with our endeavors,
yeah.
I think. And yeah, once you achieve that, it's like a different area, and it's something you haven't experienced before, so it feels uncomfortable and strange and different.
For sure. For sure. So
But yeah, dude, I definitely like ADD to the maximum potential. I can barely even keep track of this conversation, as viewers probably notice, but whatever. I'm just spitting that funk. The only thing that I can maintain attention span for is miniature painting.
sure.
Like, and I think it's because it is this series of steps that you don't repeat. Prep the model, trim the model, build the base, prime. Those are all steps that are done. It's just this series of smaller steps leading to a greater whole once again. And I can handle those, like, and it's very encouraging to see it develop
Sure.
as well. But yeah, I cannot like sit still for a movie or a show. If I'm sitting there with a show on, I'm like trimming models in the living room. I'm always doing like two things at once.
Yeah. For sure.
Should probably get on Adderall or something, but who knows?
It might make it worse. Who knows? Like
Yeah,
I've
I
done
like the
Adderall.
suits and wash.
It didn't make me less speedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I haven't done Adderall before,
Right.
but it's been a long time. Um,
So, your dream of having a book as being something that you want to do, you have sold a shitload of your work. Like, what do you do about that? Like, are you still in contact with the people that you sold these to? Do you think you could get them to send it back to get really good high def photos for a book? Or do you have good enough photos that would actually work for a tabletop?
right. I have a like high quality photos these days. I have a new camera, but there are a lot of like older pieces that are I'd have to like get them mailed back to me or something. But yeah, I sold a lot of my work, and I just keep painting more models. And yeah, I have like high definition photos of everything. I shrink them down and edit them a little bit for after I post them online, but I still have the originals of everything on a external hard drive. And my cabinet is like jam packed. I'm hoping to sell more models to make more space, because I just keep filling and adding to it. And yeah, I ordered some pieces, kind of a miniature spending binge. I'd ordered a lot of like busts and like, really kind of high profile, like artistic sculpts and stuff to thinking about that book. And we don't always try our hardest on every single piece, but I got some try hard projects to work on. And I have a lot of dioramas going at the moment. And yeah, a lot of material I'm currently working on that I'm angling towards that book and kind of filling out. Like, I want to have a section on busts, a section on dioramas, 35 millimeter scale, maybe a sci-fi fantasy category.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I could just take everything out of my cabinet right now and probably fill a book with it. So
Probably. I mean, like I've seen some of the things that you've done while not in person, but like you had your like Papa Nurgle piece that was like the size of a fucking table. It looked like you could probably take 30 photos out of that and like tell a story with everything that you put into that piece and fill up half of a book. Just by like
right.
technique and style alone, you could like take that one piece and take people on a journey for a tabletop book easily. And you have like all of your little I mean, you probably do a whole section just on your backgrounds. Like that there's the things that you do that I find super inspiring that I've never actually tried. I'm not a good painter in the sense of if I like for me painting models is more like tracing. Like I'm fucking it's not paint by numbers, but I'm painting within the lines
Yeah.
because I have this thing. So the second you put flat and I have to do dimension and all that, I'm lost on that. So when I see how you incorporate that and you incorporate your colors from the background to enhance the foreground, like it's just really smart and it's very cool to see. Like I think you could do tons of stuff on that. And every time I see a new piece that you release like that, I'm just like, fucking Sam, man. This is amazing.
And I'm just doing what I love to do. I'm always trying to trick people into like people like, I don't know, I'm thinking about picking this up. I'm thinking about painting that. I'm like, yes, do it. Just follow the muse. Whatever inspiration is telling you, go out and do that. And all the philosophy that I'm always preaching is just a trick to get people to do what they like the most, where they're most happy because you produce your best work that way.
Yeah.
It's all a little trick. You heard it here first. But like, how do I get better? And it's always like, well, just follow the muse, and that's
Yeah.
how you find what you're most inspired by, and your best work will come from that.
And I think that it's so simple. Like you think that it would be harder to get better and have more fun at a hobby, but no, it's just like, what do you like? Do you like robots? Paint a big robot. Build a big robot. Do something.
I like robots.
I like robots. I mean, like that. I got into all these Gundams as like a just like a breath of fresh air from painting minis and doing like busts and like things that I'm dumping 60, 70 hours into. I'm like, why am I doing only that? Like, there's got to be some more fun in there. And so what turned it into like the breath of fresh air made me realize that like one, I like it feels like Games Workshop is ripping me off when I see like how well engineered some of these Bandai kits are. I'm like oh, Games Workshop's got to they got to up their model game. But then I'm like, I'm having this thing where like I don't have to paint it, but then there's this guy on Instagram that if you don't follow him, and the audience, if you don't follow him, his name's Sig Gnarly. He was inspired by Ash Baker's Gamma Wolves. And so he's been taking
Oh
all
yeah, yeah.
these like 30-minute mission kits, these guys, like, and he has been like grim darking the fuck out of them. And
Yeah.
it's amazing watching what he's doing. And like, I messaged him as soon as I saw it that that's what he was doing. I was like, dude, this is so fucking inspiring. It is so cool seeing someone taking something that no one's doing right now and just like breaking the mold and creating, using, it's going to be for a game, like, and Gundam stuff doesn't have a rule set for it, and now because Ash from Gorilla
Yeah.
Miniatures Games made a rule set for him, he's just like, let's get our hands dirty. It's so cool. So Signarly, if you haven't followed him, follow him. He's awesome.
I think I do. Yeah, I think we've talked before that. I know that name. Maybe it was from Twitch. Good on him if he's carrying the same name across multiple platforms.
He is, yes.
But yeah, dude, the Gundam kits, yeah, like Bandai, I think they're like the top model seller in the world, and
Yes.
they don't have a game.
Yeah.
We always look at it as, oh man, the way to, you gotta have a rule set to move these models. That's, you always attach miniatures to like a rule set. That's kind of the wargaming mentality. And then you look at that arena and you're like, so yeah, good on Ash, man. That's super cool.
Yeah, dude, and that game, like, I'm so inspired by it. I've done some cool things. I copper leafed a model, and then I used liver of sulfur to antique the copper leaf. It's all these like weird, stupid ass picture frame shit that like I use at work, and now I'm using it on models.
That's awesome though.
Yeah,
I
dude,
love that kind of formulaic stuff. Yeah.
it's so cool, and I'm like, this, like, it doesn't really have a place in Warhammer. It doesn't mean that you can't do it, but it's like so much work to do. Like, you wouldn't want to do an entire Space Marine army like that. So like when you can have like 4 pieces that you're doing, it's totally worth the break and the effort. And liver of sulfur smells like farts, so it turned my entire studio into just a fart machine. It's like way more than it already is. It's a fart machine anyway.
Yeah,
it was bad, but it was
already a bit of a fart machine.
It is, but I just had that moment of like, this hobby is so much more fun than working for 100 hours to get an army ready just to like have like an hour of mediocre time. This hobby is amazing, and it's so varied, and the fact that like I feel that most people aren't experiencing it to its fullest because they feel like they need to have an army for a game kind of like hurts me. And so like when I see you do your model and you're like, I'm going to do this one, and it's amazing, then you're like, I'm going to do this group of models, and like you are like a hobby holistic, and I wish more people like looked at this time as that way, because I think they'd be much happier with it. I think there would be less grumpy old men in it and more just like genuinely happy people.
Yes, less of those. We need to give those grumpy old men an attitude adjustment.
Yeah.
You don't need to actually paint an entire chapter of Space Marines. You don't have to have 1,000 blue guys. But it was fucking cool if you do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like, I get it. It is cool.
It can get really monotonous. It is really cool, but it hurts. I've done that. I've painted armies on commission, and it's just so boring. But yeah, that feeling of starting a brand new model and doing every piece being an experiment and doing something a little different. That's like skirmish is where it's at. That's where the future is going. We've got Warcry, you're talking about Gamma Wolves, like Uncle Adam's always repping the skirmish games.
Yeah.
Because it's just a lower investment in every category, which makes it so much easier. Like I was at Vince's place, played a game of Age of Sigmar. I lost to Scott. It was a good game.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is so close. I want a rematch. And then I just got stomped. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing with I spent like hundreds of dollars on this. I painted this for 3 years. I drove 10 hours. I rode. John drove. But I traveled 10 hours. And, all this investment I'm learning is taking a college course on the numbers. The stats.
Math Hammer 101.
I make sure the words, all the little keywords and the wholly within and whatever, like all this fucking detail to just get like stomped.
Yeah.
You invest so much of everything of your lifetime into painting Stormcasts, and you just get run over by some YouTube star. But yeah, it's like, man, you got a lot on the line.
Yeah.
First game was great though, because it was a lot of good back and forth, and I was happy with the loss. But yeah, I got walked over the second time.
I believe
And yeah,
the
that
quote
was
that,
sad.
I believe that this was the quote that came out of your mouth before the first game was played. Just remember that your loss is someone else's win, which is
Yeah,
really mature because like it is hard. It is a hard thing to remember that someone else just had a fucking great time, even though that like the last hour and a half were probably fucking miserable for you.
yeah. Like I got beat up, but the other guy probably had a lot of fun punching me. Uh, he got to do he got to do his finisher on me. He got to do the tombstone. That'd be pretty fun for him. Yeah, that's why I said, before the first game that I didn't. It was harder to remember after the second game. I was drunk. It's 3 a.m. I forgot shit for different reasons the first time, but also the second time.
Yeah, for sure.
There's never a perfect game though. So it was a sportsmanship on both sides of the table was fantastic. Scott's always like, you can do that. You can go back and like, no, dude. I forgot about a little weapon. Maybe if I forgot to shoot my one gun, I'll go back and do that. But like, it's extremely forgiving. But I play like a little harder style because you don't remember
Right.
if it's just this oops, I forgot kind of thing the whole time. So I'm trying to, and I'm always trying to take it really seriously. I don't intend to be a tournament player, but I'm using that as a guiding light to like, you want to kind of keep an eye on the meta and know what's happening and stuff. Like I watch
Right.
Warhammer Weekly every week, and they talk about the density and the fine details. I'm always gaming for that because I think that's the game at its highest, how it's meant to be played.
Sure. Well, I
Um,
mean, the sauce said it
it's
best.
cleanest level.
If
Yeah.
you aren't coming to win, then it's just not fun. Like you have to come to win, and like maybe not like the full win at all costs. I'm going to cheat the whole time, but like you have to have the mentality that I'm leaving it all out there on the table. Otherwise, like what the fuck are we doing? Like like that there are smaller games that you could have more
Yeah.
fun doing, and so it's like you have to have that mentality. Otherwise, you're just like, what are we doing here?
The people that showed up to lose didn't sign up for the tournament. They're doing other things because they don't care. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody goes in and intending to purposely lose.
Right.
I'm sure there's one Captain Insano out there who is going to actually, but yeah.
I love getting participation points though. Like I got a cool painted army and in some
Yeah.
games
Yeah.
that actually is a huge part of the like when the Long War did their like hobby doubles thing, like your themed army was more points than if you won the game. Like you coming and having a good time and having a themed army was the bigger part of it. And actually I really respect the fuck out of them for doing that. I think that is like, no, we're here to have fun. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
And I think we forget about that so often, unfortunately.
I want a clean game, but I'm really just trying to forge this cinematic moment. Fully painted army, fully painted table. Just want to like finally have that White Dwarf experience. I was always looking at White Dwarf when I was young with fully painted everything, and that is so hard to do as an individual. Yeah, cheers to the Long War, and cheers to them for putting an emphasis on theme and narrative. It's really cool, and you can still play a good game and win that way.
and
But
and
just yeah, doing things for a reason.
and I also like because I am the king of like I'm the hobby hedonist, dude. Play with a gray army. Like just as long as you're having a good time and you're being a good sport about it, like I don't even care. I'm at that point where I would rather have a really good time with people who are like genuine fun people to be around, and I would play with fucking straight up 100% proxy tokens. Like I don't care. I want to have a good time with people who want to have a good time. And I've realized that the further away I am from The further this extrovert doesn't get to hang out with friends, an extrovert, the less I give a shit about
Yeah,
posturing. Like I want to experience good times with people who are having good times.
that's right. You are extroverted. You've said that like a number of times.
It's bad.
I'm friendly but not social.
It's bad.
I I get along with people, but I'm not like, yeah, I like living out at a farm completely alone. Fucking rules. But I do
Where's my
like,
wicker
yeah,
hat?
people. I get it, man.
Well,
Takes
Sam,
all types to run this little gaming scene.
it really does. I'm stoked that you've made this these pivots. I'm stoked to be able to be the fly on the wall and be a part of this. Because yeah, I mean, like you were one of the first things, your videos with tabletop minions, and just like I learned so much from you to be able to be a part of that and to see you navigate this world in a way, like it's so unfair, all of these content creators, and like cons were going to be your things and you shifted, and then Twitch couldn't be your thing anymore, and then you doubled down on the Patreon and the YouTube, and like lessons, the fact that you are flexible, like if anybody doesn't look at you and isn't just inspired to do their best, they aren't paying attention to the right things. It's not the fact that you also paint like a
Wow.
motherfucker. It's the fact that your work ethic and your dedication to your dream is like one of the most purest expressions of like personal freedoms that I've ever seen. You have taken this life and you're fucking doing it on your own, on your art. And it's like I think that anybody seeing that should be just thrilled to be a part of you and helping your dream succeed.
Huh, wow, man. Thank you. I don't look in on myself like that. It's really cool to hear that perspective.
Well, I mean, you're
Uh,
you're in the forest, man. You can't see the trees.
yeah,
You're in it.
exactly. Every once in a while, I'll get a little like feeling of accomplishment, but yeah, I'm just wow. I thank you. That was really nice of you to say. Um, I just feel like I have so much more to do
Yeah.
that I want to just keep going, and there's just so many ways to paint and do all this. It never ends.
Never ends. And I think that that's why you are going to continuously be this guy who's always pushing a boundary, is always like I think it's going to be great. I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see whether or not you go back to conventions in the way that you had planned on it last year. I'm excited to see everybody like look at their time differently, because I've talked to several content creators that were like, I lost a huge sum of money last year, but I actually ended up not spending as much money. Like that life is expensive. And
Mhm.
while it makes sense to like be everywhere, like does it? Like I think that there's something
Ooh.
that is to be said about like being selective and making when you come out, make it be big. Like I think that's one of the best parts about you is that you are reclusive right now. And so every time you peek your head out, it's just like, ooh, the fucking groundhog's out. Like, what's going on? Like, is he gonna see a shadow? Let's fucking find out. Like, there's like this
Yeah,
excitement about it. It's so cool.
yeah, dude. I'm doing like having the Patreon, and I wouldn't. I don't know if I would have started it or as soon as I did if it weren't for COVID. But yeah, I don't have to fly coast to coast in the same month now. That whole like trying to be everywhere, I knew that was not like that's what was if that was to be the rest of my life, I would die. Uh I was so fucking like ragged, but I wanted to work twice as hard to get twice as far.
Sure.
and try to enjoy a little bit of that, reap what I had sown a bit. But again, without that shock to the schedule, I'm gonna post it up. I had a flyer for of like the 8 different like locations I was going to. I was scheduled into like September, I think, and I had like Adepticon on there. I didn't have Nova Open on it yet, and then I had all these dates for like weekend classes set up. All that work, had all this money from people they had prepaid. It's all sitting in my PayPal,
Uh-huh.
and then gradually I was just refunding all of it and taking a hit on it too,
Sure.
like because you lose a little percentage.
The fee,
So
sure.
every event that I canceled would cost me like 60 or $70.
Oh, rough. That's so rough.
And then I had one guy, I was on Twitch. I'm like, yeah, I gotta cancel this one. He's like, just keep the money. Like there were, yeah, the community really can provide. I fucking love this community. How people will come together, and charities are always just a part of a random side tangent. But I
Sure.
just love how much like how many good hearts are involved in this is like really stunning at times. But I don't know what the fuck I was just saying. Pandemic made shit all crazy. I had to cancel. Things looked differently. I'll post up that flyer still. It's just the thing that never was.
Yeah. Well, I
Just yeah.
it's
I won't be doing that though. I won't go and teach an event every month. I'll maybe do 3 or 4. And what I'd like to do is more of a kind of a getaway thing. Maybe I rent out an Airbnb in Colorado and we all go there for a weekend. I was looking into that, and I know a guy out there who would cater it, but we've got to wait for
hell
some
yeah.
vaccines to be distributed.
Yeah. Dude, I think that that's an awesome idea. And there's always things like Wormwood Gaming was talking about doing a getaway thing, and like there's all these things that are adjacent to the miniature space that are way fucking bigger than the miniature space. Like I think the fact that like we're so mono focused on getting a fucking great army painted so it can be on the table means that like we're missing the fact that there is like millions and millions of D&D books happening, and there's people who want to have a beholder on the table, and there's a community there that is intimidated by the machismo of a space marine. And it's like, oh, we can there are these people, and with WizKids and Wizards of the Coast doing the sprued models for their D&D stuff, like there's a whole new audience that is getting ready to build their first models, and that's a fucking drug. Like that's like the best feeling when you
Yeah.
get that first model. Like they need to be welcomed with open arms into this hobby space. And so I'm like I'm excited for Adepticon, but like I'm excited to see what happens at like Gen Con and things like that. I want to see you know the D&D space blow up with miniature painters, and I want fucking Samlin's weapon racks on all their all their tables
Yeah.
learning how to do it
Yeah.
right,
Everybody.
man.
And that's excellent. Yeah, it is. It is still growing. We're still on this upward pattern
Hell yeah.
with the hobby. And yeah, they're yeah, this space marine in shorts, his legs are too muscular, macho. Can't stand this. Yeah, it's funny. I just like when I was going on my ordering binge, I ordered a lot of I want to paint pretty things. I ordered some like female models and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm always telling people just paint the opposite of whatever you're doing if you want to break out of your comfort zone and
Yeah.
like discover some new territory. Some
Dude,
people
did
like the
you
Marines.
did
I
you see
do.
that the bust of the African American woman with the like afro that just like came out like went on
Oh,
pre-order a couple weeks ago, and I
oh, if that's brand new, yeah, I have not seen that.
oh dude, I shouldn't have bought it. I'm like totally at a point where I shouldn't spend money right now, and I was like, I need more of this in the hobby space, and this is different than literally anything I have around here. Like everything I have is fucking like hot demon babes, muscular
Yeah.
monsters. Like I'm like I need something that is like it's. I was like I need something the exact opposite, and I'm so excited to spend 40 hours figuring that out. I think it's gonna be so much fun,
Fuck yeah. Yeah,
dude.
that's a whole new adventure waiting, man. That's awesome.
And
Yeah,
you
lean
know
into that. Try something different.
I I I'm always shocked at how just when you think that this model, this hobby, this art form is getting stale, like no, it isn't. There's so much more, and there's so many more things that aren't represented in the space. And when you have something like that, and when you realize you've never seen anything like this, and it shouldn't be that weird, like oh my god, that's an easy one. That's a little like fucking low hanging fruit, and like you realize that it's on this entire unpicked tree of fruit. You're like, I'm so down. I'm so excited.
Oh yes, the many fruits.
A
The
many
fruits await
fruits.
you, my friends.
Sam, we've been going for a long time. Is there anything you'd like to say to the peoples? Because yeah, we already know your big hairy audacious goals, and we're here for it. So you got any things that you're wanting to promote or any impart any words of wisdom?
I think we hit all of the switches. Um, yeah, I wish I had some awesome catchphrase to go out on, like Unchained or Cowabunga or Paint the World or something.
Hack the
Um,
planet. Hack the planet.
yeah, Doge to the moon. Would
Doge
that
to
be a?
the moon. Doge to the moon.
No, man. I think we covered all the territory. So if you're seeing this, come out and find me. Check out my content. I hope it helps motivate you in your on your own spiritual path.
Hell
And
yeah.
yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Well, the truth is out there. Sam, thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate it.
All right. Cheers.